Dr. Mostafavi, your book says to kill the idolaters wherever you find them. That's insane. How is that peaceful? Today we're putting the Quran on trial. Defend that verse. Go.
Pastor, you're right. Ripping that verse out of context is the best way to make Islam look bad. But that's like showing a jury a bloody knife and not telling them it was used for self-defense. You're hiding the evidence.
But the verse is simple. Kill the idolaters. Not attackers, idolaters. It sounds like a command to kill anyone who isn't a Muslim. How can anyone today read that and not think it's a license for violence?
That verse was a declaration of war after years of attacks and a broken treaty. The main rule God set is simple. You defend yourself against aggression. It's not a free-for-all. The Quran literally says to honor treaties with anyone who doesn't betray you. And if an enemy soldier asks for protection, you have to give it to them and get them to safety. This isn't a call for murder. It's the rules of engagement for when you've been betrayed and attacked.
Okay, fine. But what about the Prophet's personal life? Sources say he married Aisha when she was a little kid. You can't defend that today. How can a role model for billions do that?
We're judging something from 400 years ago by 21st century standards. That's like getting mad at a caveman for not using a fork. Back then, marriage was about tribal alliances, not romance, and was common after puberty across many cultures. The marriage to Aisha literally sealed the deal between the Prophet and his best friend, her dad, Abu Bakr. And here's the craziest part. Nobody back then, not even his worst enemies, said anything bad about it. That's the biggest clue it was completely normal for that time.
But just because it was normal doesn't make it right. And what about his marriage to Zainab, his adopted son's ex-wife? Right after the divorce, a verse comes down from heaven saying it's okay. That looks like he just saw a woman he wanted and got a revelation to make it happen.
This was about destroying a man-made rule, not personal desire. In pre-Islamic Arabia, an adopted son was considered the same as a blood son, making his ex-wife off-limits forever. God commanded the Prophet to marry her to prove that this man-made taboo was wrong for everyone. The verse you're talking about actually calls out the Prophet for being scared of what people would say. It wasn't a verse for his convenience. It was a public lesson for all of humanity that God's law is bigger than human traditions.
Do you think that a God who created galaxies so vast that we humans are completely insignificant would, if he exists, really discuss with us his servants how we should get married? Or is that just made up, with Muhammad issuing these rules for his own permission? Don't forget to follow the channel and subscribe. Hit like on this video, and let's get back to the rest of it.
This leads me to naskh, or abrogation, the idea that new verses can cancel old ones. The Quran literally says, we do not abrogate a verse, but that we bring a better one or like it. To me, that's the ultimate cheat code. Doesn't that just mean all the early peaceful verses are erased by the later aggressive verses like the sword verse?
That's a massive misunderstanding of abrogation. It doesn't mean peaceful verses get deleted. Think of it like a constitution getting amendments. The core principles, peace, justice, forgiveness, never change. But as the community grew from a few people being persecuted to a full-blown state, they needed new rules for new situations, like how to run a government or fight a war. Terrorist groups twist this to claim it's always wartime, but real scholars agree. The fighting verses are the exception, only for self-defense. The verses about peace, that's the default setting for the entire religion.
Do you think the whole idea of abrogation could be because when Muhammad was in Medina and had gained power, he moved away from peace and friendship and started giving more authoritative commands, then said the earlier verses were corrected? Which one sounds more logical to you?
In the end, it all comes down to this. Are you reading the Quran like a list of random commands, or are you seeing the bigger picture? The fighting verses are rules for just defense. The Prophet's marriages set new social laws. Abrogation was just updating the rules for new challenges, not creating contradictions. Judging the Quran on one verse you don't understand is like judging a movie by a single frame. You see a picture, but you miss the whole story.
All right, everyone. Here's the point we want you to take away. This video wasn't about proving that a religious scholar can perfectly explain every issue in the Quran, and it wasn't about the pastor winning or losing either. The real message is simple. Every religion has its flaws, and these flaws are often smoothed over with modern interpretations from scholars. What we hope is that you watch these examples with an open mind, without letting cultural or religious bias cloud your judgment. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and most importantly, don't accept things blindly. If you want to keep exploring similar truths about other religions, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. And if you liked this video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.
Until the next video, goodbye.
See you next time for another open-minded look at religions. Bye for now.